set it up so that if he did die, his ministry would continue without him. So they had started they were going to start having, because he couldn't travel as much anymore, so they started having a simulcast. And they needed a team leader, so they called me in and they asked me if I would be the team leader for John to be able to do the simulcast. And they wanted 27 churches or 50,000 people around the United States. That's where they're going to start. Now they do them all over the world, you know. And I agreed to do that because I'm an entrepreneurial, I got that spirit, you know. So it's a startup or something, you know. The only question I had was, what is a simulcast? In 1998, I didn't know what a simulcast was. But besides that, anyway, we did it. So the guy who actually was my supervisor was not the guy that went to Liberty that I told you had interviewed me. It was the CEO of the company. And he and I did not get along. He was very aggressive and just, you know, we didn't get along. And so I'm like, I went, God, what is this about? Because I know you put me here. And just what you were saying, both of you were saying, the Lord revealed to me that I needed to be submissive to Him. That I needed to stop fighting Him, and, you know, that I needed to be submissive to Him, be nice to Him. Remember, everything's about relationship, right? Yeah. So remember, I'm a new leader, I'm learning too, you know. So I did. I asked the Lord to forgive me, and that I was going to be submissive, do exactly what He said, not give Him any lip. He asked my opinion, I tell him, but, you know, go from there. And in a week's time, God, He moved him to do something else, and He moved me back under the guy who had first interviewed me, who I loved. Gabriel was his name, but Gabe. And I loved him, and because I was obedient, God blessed that and moved me out from under that guy, put me under Gabe, who we had a great relationship. You know, I just adored him. So you guys are right in that instance, and thank you, Nathan, for sharing that. But it taught me a great lesson. And many times, I don't know if you're like me, but my failures, my mistakes, have been some of my best lessons. Yeah. All right, who's next? I think I saw the microphone. Yes. And then you were going. Okay. Thank you guys for sharing. I love this.
Yeah, it's very cool. For me, my biggest take home was attitude. Like, there's no two ways to it. Like, it doesn't matter what you're doing as a wife, as a leader in the church, or even just as friends. It's just attitude. Like, the difference between me and the other person who will take up things is attitude. And the least for paradoxical commandments of leadership. Like, if you spend years building, it may be destroyed overnight, but wake up the following day and build again.
Yes.
And for me, I'm in the restaurant industry, and I was just thinking, let's say you've set up the restaurant and you've gone on for a year and everything is good, or there are challenges here and there, but you can overcome. What if the night that one night everything is gone, like there's some burglary or some city council kind of thing happening, and you find out that day you can't work, the equipment is gone and all those things? Do you wake up the following day and start again? Mm-hmm. In that, like, you go now to the suppliers and start buying equipment, the fryers or whatever you need to continue the following day? That to me was beyond. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Attitude, and anger, attitude, thank you for sharing. Attitude, Eunice was next, I think. Attitude is so important. So important. Because what you focus on expands. Yeah. And if you're negative, the negative, then it's going to expand. And have you ever heard the statement, one bad apple ruins the, and it really does. And so if you as the leader are setting a bad attitude, example, then that's going to spread to your team. And if you got a bad apple on your team, you got to take care of that as a leader. We'll get into that. Yes.
For me, three things. One, same attitude, but the aspect of I have the power to choose the kind of attitude I will adopt in life,
Yes.
wherever I am.
Yes.
And then he mentions the great men, the George Washington, all those people. They all had something terrible happen in their lives or some sort of weakness, but that was almost like a launching pad
Yes.
into their destinies and stuff, and the reminder that the same thing you're saying, some of the best lessons you learn from your failures. So also, if it's a weakness or if something life has dealt at you, use it to your advantage and
Yes.
let it catapult you.
Yeah.
Then that thing, even looking back at places I've worked or departments, even in church, relationships, if I get to leave those spaces, the relationships that are sustained are where the level of interaction was beyond the function. Here's a subordinate, here's a leader. If there was genuine interest in the other people or with one another beyond the JD, the relationship gets to thrive past that season. But if I come to church, let's say I'm in ushering and we come work, go, nobody's interested in how you're doing. And we get to work better if I know what's happening in your life. Now I know why you're responding this way or that way.
Yes. Good. Excellent. Excellent.
Excuse me, ma'am. My
Okay,
question
we-
is answered.
What?
My question is not answered.
Your questions, I'm sorry, I thought I answered it when we were talking about.
No, that was another.
You're being manipulated.
No, not really. I was just trying to hear that my question is not answered.
Can I ask your question again? I'm not the only one. Everybody, did you hear his question?
My question was, like when you're taking care of your staffs, you're a leader, taking care of your staffs, and I find out that people are taking advantage of it. Should you stop taking care of them? And he said that, okay, you're paying for their house rent, you're taking care of them, giving them lunch, for them to do work effectively, and you still pay their your salary, and they're taking advantage of it, now start giving you excuse, something happened to my door, my wife, all these stories.
Right.
So should you stop that benefit?
Okay, I got you. So, see, I thought you were talking about, there was somebody, a leader that was doing that. You're talking about, you've got people that are working with you, your team, that are doing that. So, my suggestion would be you bring the person in, because sometimes people don't realize what they're doing. Sometimes it's a training issue. It's not an attitude issue. Okay? So maybe they don't understand. So as a leader, you want to bring them in, and you want to say exactly what your expectations are and what you see they're doing, and say, this is my expectation for you. This is what I expect. And not in a bad way. You know, you might even hug them when you say it. Do it in a nice way. And then, if they continue that action, they need to go.
Yeah.
Because that is an attitude issue. That is not a training issue. You've trained them, you've told them what you expect, etc., and then they're not doing that. So that's an attitude issue, and you cannot train an attitude issue. They can become a better person and work on their attitude, okay? But you can't change that, you know. So they're actually, you know, they need to go. You know? And bless them.
Yes, that's my plan.
Then they need to go. Okay. So you've already done that?
Yes, I wanted to I've already included the money that I'm giving them, I'm giving them that money.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
Ola, but before they go, please have a
I do know I have a discussion.
I'm just
You know the kind of person I am, I comfort you. I will just-
Remember, everything's about relationships. So let me ask you this, when you've talked to them, have you told them that if they don't change and do it the way you expect, that they're going to be gone?
Yes, I think that. I just take it as continuous. Everybody I work with, I make sure I must know your family, I know where you stay, because I always take it to comfort, because I believe people working with you, for them to work effectively, there are two things you have to take away from them. You have to take the food, their food and their living. If a man has a house on his roof and he can eat, he will work effectively. But now I've seen that they are taking advantage of that. Like, we've talked so many times, you bring them down. Even when I also talk to my people, I don't just call and talk. I must put the food on the table, we sit together with you, and I talk. So that I can hear my view, so that it don't like I come on you actually.
Right.
But I must make sure I say my mind. So when I tell them, we keep going on and on and on. So sometimes you get tired. Like, what is going on? Are they doing it because you're a foreigner? Or that thought comes to you, are they doing it because you're in Nigeria, Kenya, or are they taking advantage of you? So you don't feel something.
So I can't wait to see what his personality type is, because I believe I know what it is. And that's okay, that's how God made you. But I can't wait to do it. You guys, I know y'all have a lot of comments and many things to say. We have a lot of material we're talking about. Okay, so if you don't mind, I'd like for us to move on into how to grow yourself as a leader and, I mean, not grow yourself as a leader, how to increase your influence. But as we do that, I know Lawrence and you all have some more comments, so maybe you can interject it in this, okay? Because we'll be talking about some of this as we move along. Okay. So we learned yesterday that leadership is influence. Thank you. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay? You're going to see that again. Remember that. So if that's true, and it is, that leadership is influence, it's nothing more and it's nothing less, then we need to know how to grow our influence. Okay? So we can be better and more effective leaders. So that's what we're going to learn today. Okay? So in your book on page 23. Influence insights. Everybody with me? Yes. All right. Influence insights. First of all, like we just said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. There in your book, Harry Overstreet said the very essence of all power to influence lies in getting the other person to participate. Okay? So when we lead people, we influence people. And again, remember, it's not about title and position, okay, on the organizational chart. It's all about influence. And so the person who has the most influence, and you want to remember this, wink, wink, you want to remember this, there in your book, the person who has the most influence is the leader. Okay? They are the leader. You want to know who your leader is on your team, in your organization? It's that person that has the most influence. One of my favorite leadership proverbs is, "He who thinketh he leadeth, and no one follows, is only taking a walk." He who thinketh he leads, and no one is following them, they're only taking a walk. Okay? So, the second influence insight that we need to know is our influence with others. Our influence with others usually is not in all areas. Okay? And what we mean by this is that maybe you're really good, bless you, maybe you're really good in one area, and people respect you, they know you about that. For instance, leadership. Okay? People know that I have been trained, been doing leadership since 1999, really studying it every day. And so they know so I have a lot of influence in that area. Okay? But now, I love praise and worship, but if you want to ask me how to be a worship leader, I'm not your girl. So I would not have influence in that area. Okay? So that's the second insight, is that we don't have influence. You're not, just know that. You're not going to have influence in all areas, but you're going to have influence in that, whatever God's called you to do in your purpose. Another insight on influence is with influence comes responsibility. With influence comes responsibility. With influence comes responsibility. And boy, is that true. John Maxwell says there in your book, there are people whose feelings and well-being are within my influence, that I, as a leader, will never escape that fact. Okay? So when we lead people, we're responsible for them. Okay? Paula, when you lead people, you're responsible for them. And I think that's why it hurts you so, for those people to be taking advantage of you. But it's your responsibility to guide them and help them, and if they're not doing it, out the door. You know, God bless you, but out the door. So, and then a fourth influence insight is my influence with others. My influence with others is either positive or negative. That's right. It's either positive or negative. In other words, when I'm influencing people, I'm either adding value to them, okay? Adding value to them, helping make them better, or I'm sucking the life out of them. Okay? And so, if I'm negative, you're sucking the life out of your people, you know? And again, what you focus on expands, and it will destroy the team. Okay? So, how many of you, when you're having a bad day, there are certain people you just want to avoid? Because you know when you go to them and you see them and you tell them that you're having a bad day, their bad day is going to be better than your bad day. I mean, you know, it's just like you just avoid those people. But how about, do you have people that you know that you love, that when you're having a bad day, you know if you call on them or go to them or whatever, they're going to lift you up. That's the positive influence. Okay? And that's what we as leaders What kind of person are you? When other people are having a bad day and they come to you, what do? Do you lift them up? Do you encourage them? Or you negative? Just a little self-evaluation, okay? Because we want to be a positive influence, not a negative influence. And you want people on your team who are. Now, are we always positive? Am I always positive? No. I get down, depressed. As a matter of fact, I heard this from John Maxwell when I started it. I have what I call a pity, P-I-T-Y, file. Pity file. When I'm feeling down, many times it's when I'm tired or hungry, you know, but when I'm feeling down and discouraged, and I do go there, I do get there, I go to my pity file. And in my pity file are cards, letters, little trinkets, things that people have given me through the years, thanking me for something.
Yeah.
I just did this training at our company, and the ladies there gave me one. It had just been my birthday, so they gave me a birthday card and a birthday cake that we celebrated at the end of our training. But they also gave me the most precious card on what this training had meant to them. And each one of them wrote a little personal note that goes in my pity file. So when I'm down and discouraged, I pull that stuff out, and guess what happens? It's just like reading the Word, you know? You get in the Bible and it lifts you up. You know? So we always want to try to be, have a positive influence, of course. Number 5, and you will